Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
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 Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girvaradhari
Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girvaradhari
Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girvaradhari
Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girvaradhari
Yashodanandana Brajajannaranjana
Yashodanandana Vijayarandana
Yashodanandana Brajajannaranjana
Yashodanandana Vijayarandana
Yamuna Chira Vanachari
Yamunatira Vanachari
Yamuna Chira Vanachari
Yamunatira Vanachari
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
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 Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girvaradhari
Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girvaradhari
Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girvaradhari
Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girvaradhari
Yashodanandana Brajajannaranjana
Yashodanandana Vijayarandana
Yashodanandana Brajajannaranjana
Yashodanandana Vijayarandana
Yamuna Chira Vanachari
Yamunatira Vanachari
Yamuna Chira Vanachari
Yamunatira Vanachari
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
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 Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girvaradhari
Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girvaradhari
Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girvaradhari
Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girvaradhari
Yashodanandana Brajajannaranjana
Yashodanandana Vijayarandana
Yashodanandana Brajajannaranjana
Yashodanandana Vijayarandana
Yamuna Chira Vanachari
Yamunatira Vanachari
Yamuna Chira Bihari,
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari,
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you. Hare Krishna, everyone.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhu, can you share the sloka? Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So the third canto, 14th chapter, 37th sloka.
So 7.
37, yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Maitreya Uvacha
Maitreyovacha
Vasargasyasi Shamlokyam
vasargasya ashitam lokyam
Ashasanam Pravepatim
ashasanam pravepatim
Nivritta Sandhya Niyamo
nivritta sandhyanyamo
Bharyam Aha Prajapati.
Maryam aha prajapati.
Maitreya Uvacha
Maitreyovacha
Svasargasyasi Shamlokyam
vasargasya ashitam lokyam
Asashanam Pravepatim
ashasanam pravepatim
Nivritta Sandhya Niyamo
sandhyanyamo
Bharyam Aha Prajapati.
Maryam aha prajapati.
Maitreya Uvacha
Maitreyovacha
Svasargayasi Shamlokyam
vasargasya ashitam lokyam
Asasanam Pravepatim
asanam pravepatim
Nivritta Sandhya Niyamo
nivritta sandhyanyamo
Bharyam Aha Prajapati.
Maryam aha prajapati.
Prabhu, can you chant?
Maitreyovacha swasargasya shamlokyam ashasanam pravepatim nivritta sandhyanyamo Maryam aha prajapati.
You see the synonyms. Maitreya Uvacha, the great sage Maitreya said,
Maitreyovacha, the great sage Maitreya said,
Swasargasya, of her own children,
swasargasya, of her own children,
Asisham, welfare,
asisham, welfare,
Lokyam, in the world,
lokyam, in the world,
Asashanam, desiring,
ashasam, desiring,
Pravepatim, while trembling,
pravepatim, while trembling,
Nivritta, averted from,
nivritta, averted from,
Sandhya Niyama, the rules and regulations of evening,
sandhyanyama,
Bharyam, unto the wife,
Maryam, unto the wife,
Aha said,
aha said,
Prajapati, the progenitor.
Prajapati, the progenitor.
Translation. Maitreya said, the great sage Kashyapa thus addressed his wife, who was trembling because of fear that her husband was offended. She understood that he had been disordered from his daily duties of offering evening prayers. Yet she desired the welfare of her children in the world. Maitreya said,
Maitreya said,
the great sage Kashyapa
the great sage Kashyapa
thus addressed his wife,
thus addressed his wife,
who was trembling
because of
fear that her husband was offended.
that her husband was offended.
She understood that
She understood that
he had been disordered
he had been dissuaded
from his daily duties
from his daily duties
of offering evening prayers.
of offering prayers.
Yet she desired
the
the welfare of her children
welfare of the children
in the world.
in the world.
Can we do one more sloka, Prabhu? Next one. 38th sloka. Kashyapa Uvacha
Kashyapa Uvacha
Aprayatyat Atmanaste
aprayatyat atmanaste
Doshan Mahurtikat Uta
doshan maukurtikat utha
Mannite Shati Charane
matnideshachtarana
Devanam Chati Helanat.
devanam chahitelana.
Synonyms. Kashyapa Uvacha, the learned Brahmana Kashyapa said,
Kashyapa Uvacha, the learned Brahmana Kashyapa said,
Aprayatyat, because of the pollution,
aprayatyat, because of the pollution,
Atmana, of the mind,
atmana, of the mind,
Teyor,
your
Doshat, because of defilement,
Dosha because of defilement.
Mauhurtikat in the terms of the moment,
Mahapurtika in terms of the moment.
Uta also,
Also,
Matmai,
Matmai,
Nidesha direction,
Idesha direction.
Charena being too neglectful,
Aticharena being too neglectful.
Devanam of the demigods,
Devanam of demigod.
Cha also,
Cha also.
Adihelanat being too apathetic.
Adihevana being too apathetic.
Translation. The learned Kashyapa said, because of your minds being polluted, because of defilement of the particular time, because of your negligence of my directions, and because of your being apathetic to the demigods, everything was inauspicious. The learned Kashyapa said,
The learned Kashyapa said,
because of your minds being polluted,
because of your mind has been polluted,
because of defilement of the particular time,
because of defilement of the time,
because of your negligence
because of your negligence
of my directions,
of my directions,
and because of your being
and because of your being
apathetic to the demigods,
apathetic to demigod,
everything was inauspicious.
everything was inauspicious.
Yes, Supriya Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Purport: the conditions for having good progeny in society are that the husband should be disciplined in religious and regulative principles, and the wife should be faithful to the husband. In Bhagavad Gita 7.11, it is said that sexual intercourse according to religious principles is a representation of Krishna consciousness. Both engaging in sexual intercourse, both the husband and wife must consider the mental condition, the particular time, the husband's direction, and obedience to the demigods. According to the Vedic society, there is a suitable auspicious time for sex life, which is called the time for Garbhadana. Didi neglected all the principles of scriptural injunction, and therefore, although she was very anxious for auspicious children, she was informed that her children would not be worthy to be the sons of a Brahmana. There is a clear indication herein that a Brahmana's son is not always a Brahmana. Personalities like Ravana and Hiranyakashipu were actually born of Brahmanas, but they were not accepted as Brahmanas because their fathers did not follow the regulative principles for their birth. Such children are called demons or Rakshasas. There were only one or two Rakshasas in the previous ages due to the negligence of disciplinary methods, but during the age of Kali, there is no discipline in sex life. How then one can expect good children? Certainly, unwanted children cannot be a source of happiness in society, but through the Krishna conscious movement, they can be raised to the human standard by chanting the holy name of God. That is a unique contribution of Lord Chaitanya to human society. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna, thank you. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devam Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayusha Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavadir Uttama Sloke Bhaktir Bhavadinaishtiki Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayati Kirim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Paramananda Madhavam Shri Guru Dinadharanam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhudale Srimade Bhaktivedanta Swamini Dinamini Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshtarini Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Kashyapa Uvacha Aprayatyat Atmanaste Doshan Mahurtikat Uta Maniteshati Charena Devanam Cheti Helanat. Hare Krishna. So, Prabhu, can you go to the last part of the purport? So, here Prabhupada quotes the 7.11 sloka, and towards the end, Prabhupada mentions that all in Kali Yuga are born as demons, but then because of the negligence of the Garbhadan Sanskar, but then through Krishna consciousness movement, they can be raised to the human standard by chanting the holy name of the Lord. That is the unique contribution of Lord Chaitanya to human society, Jai Gauranga. So it's because of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we got this Krishna conscious movement where everyone can get purified in Kali Yuga. So here in 7.11 sloka of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna mentions Dharmo Aviruddha Bhuteshu Kamosmi Bharadarshapa. Dharma Aviruddha. The sex life which is not, which is according to the dharma or the religious principle, it's me. So that means that's Krishna. So there's something called Garbhadan Samskar, which Namanishra Prabhu were explaining in the previous few classes, right? So there's a particular thing to be checked. But then most of us were born without any Garbhadan Samskar, or even many of you have children and then you have come to Krishna consciousness. So we were unaware of all these things because our culture has been so degraded that it was followed in Satya Yuga and all that, but as we progress in Kali Yuga, we are so busy in life, and these Sanatan Dharma has been like not there. Nobody know what is Garbhadan Sanskar. So not to worry about it. Prabhupada says, why you're worrying about that? Oh, I was not born out of Garbhadan Sanskar, or my children are not born like that. That's okay. There's no point in regretting what happened. But then Prabhupada gives us a ray of hope. He says, through Krishna conscious movement, they can be raised to a human standard. Like Kalod Shudra Samba, everyone is born Shudra, but then because of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's unique Sankirtan movement, Krishna consciousness, every soul, every human being can be purified, reach up to the level of Brahmana concept or a Vaishnava. That's what this movement is so precious about. If you take the history in the movement from Srila Prabhupada, right? All the acharyas before Srila Prabhupada, they were all Vaishnava, born Vaishnavas. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati was born in a Vaishnava family. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, all of them. Even Srila Prabhupada was born in a Vaishnava family. What about the disciples after Srila Prabhupada? That is 32nd Acharya in the Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. But after that, the parampara is continuing, that there's so many disciples for Srila Prabhupada. They were not born in Vaishnava families, except a few were already devotees before meeting Srila Prabhupada, but most of them, 90%, were all Shudras and the Mlechas, and Prabhupada uplifted them. So it is said, Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chitte de Koriya Akya Arana Kori Ho Mane Asha. Guru Mukha Padma Vakya, which we sang in the Guru Vandana. It is said just now in Guru Arati we sang, Guru Mukha Padma Vakya. Whatever the Guru says, whatever the words that's coming from the Guru, Chitte de Koriya Akya, it will clean your heart. That's what a Guru is. He's a representative of God. He is empowered by Krishna, or he has come to deliver us. So a Guru like Srila Prabhupada have uplifted all the people in Kali Yuga, all of his disciples. If you take their past history, it's been a horrible life which they were going through. And they are not ashamed to say it. When you see the Prabhupada memories in YouTube, when the devotees, they say how they have come to Krishna consciousness. The first thing we ask is, how did you come to Krishna consciousness? So before that, what their life was, nobody likes to talk about it. But Prabhupada's disciples were so fearless. Why should I be scared? Because I have done some sins before coming to Krishna consciousness. All of us have done, but it was Prabhupada who uplifted them. So it is said that Guru's words and Guru's lotus feet, the dust of the Guru's lotus feet, or the Abhishek which we do, we do Abhishek for the Guru's lotus feet. Even that water is so powerful. It is said, Bhakta Pada Duli, Bhakta Pada Jal, and Bhakta Bhukta Avashesha Tino Mahabhal. That means Bhakta Pada Duli, a dust from the lotus feet of a devotee. Bhakta Pada Jal, like if you do Abhishek to the lotus feet of the devotees and you take the Charanamrit, that, and Bhakta Bhukta Avashesha, whatever the remnants which a great devotee leaves, Tino Mahabal. These three have a lot of power. So once it was a competition going on by Indradyumna Maharaj. He's one of the great disciple of Srila Prabhupada. So he have a lot of disciples now. So Indradyumna Maharaj and the temple, they had a competition. They told, like, Prabhupada is going to come. And who is going to do personal service to Prabhupada? There's a competition. Book distribution is the competition. Whoever distributes the maximum books, the Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam to the public, whoever get the highest score, they are going to do personal service to Prabhupada, and they are the one who's going to wash Srila Prabhupada's lotus feet and take the Charanamrit. So they know what's the importance of Charanamrit. Okay, so They were so happy. And Indradumna Maharaj was working so hard to distribute the books from morning to evening, night. They were distributing continuously, and he won. He and his friend, they were the toppers. So when Prabhupada went to the temple, Indradumna Maharaj was so happy to do personal service to Prabhupada. So he washed the lotus feet of Prabhupada. They do with water, milk, and they do abhishek of the lotus feet of the Guru, because the Charanamrit is so powerful. Okay, so the Charanamrit was there. But normally the Charanamrit is distributed to everyone in the temple, normally. But then that was a competition there. So Indradumna Maharaj had the whole right for the Charanamrit. So, but he knew that after the Abhishek, there was Arati, Guru Arati going on. So everyone might just take the Charanamrit and finish it off. And so Indradumna Maharaj and his friend took it to their brahmachari room, the ashram. They took it silently inside and they locked the room. And everyone were knocking. Indradumna, open. What are you doing inside? They were actually drinking the Charanamrit. Whatever Prabhupada, the Charanamrit from Prabhupada's lotus feet, they were just sprinkling it around their body, and they were drinking it, because that's the mercy. That's the mercy of a guru coming to you, right? So it is very important to get the mercy of the Guru. The Guru gives you mercy just like that. But then if you do some special service to the Guru is really pleased. Because what are we doing? Prabhupada says, if you want to please me, whatever lecture you listen from me, whatever teachings I give you through my books, spread it around. Do preaching. If you do preaching, you're more favorite to Srila Prabhupada. And the blessings come from the Guru Parampara. Okay, so we have a very nice, strong disciplic succession of Srila Prabhupada, that Srila Prabhupada has empowered all of them. They were not following any regulative principles. They didn't know anything. They were not taking bath. They were hippies. They were abandoned by the society. But Prabhupada uplifted them. So Prabhupada once was giving lectures in America. So there's so many disciples comes to him. He doesn't care what you were before. So one of the disciple was a pickpocketer. He used to, because he was abandoned from the family, he was an orphan, and he was born and brought up in a pickpocketing family of the streets. So he didn't know whose his parents were. He was an orphan, and he was growing in the street. So naturally, automatically, he's not educated. He didn't go to the school. So he naturally became a pickpocketer. But later on, he joined the movement. So Prabhupada never bothers. What was your history before? He never asked anyone unless they tell it to Prabhupada. So Prabhupada accepted everyone. That was his mercy. So this pickpocketer came to the temple. He is used to be awake at night. He can't sleep at night because the pickpocketers, what they do, morning they sleep whole day, and then night they work. They are alert because they have to steal and they have to do all these things. So he was not getting sleep. So what he used to do, he's walking around the ashram at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 2 a.m., 3 a.m. He's walking around. He's not getting sleep. So he went and woke up his friend at 1 a.m. at midnight. And he's like, just wake up and talk to me. And friends are like, we have to get up at 4 a.m. for Mangalarati, and let me sleep. I'm so tired of the service. Nobody was ready to get up, and he was getting frustrated. And he's like, I want someone to talk to me. So that devotee told, go to Srila Prabhupada's room. Prabhupada is awake. Prabhupada is awake from 12 a.m. to 4:30 a.m. Go and talk to Prabhupada. So this pickpocketer devotee thought, okay, good. Let me talk to Prabhupada. So he went and knocked Prabhupada's room. Prabhupada's like, who is knocking me at 1 a.m.? He's translating his books. So Prabhupada opened the door, and Prabhupada's like, what do you want? I'm busy. It's like, Prabhupada, I want to talk. And he told what his history was. I was being a pickpocketer, so I'm not used to sleep at night. Now what to do? I'm not getting adjusted to that. So Prabhupada's like, I have some service, come. It's like, what service? I'm not educated. I don't know your translation. I don't know to write and do anything for you. No service. So Prabhupada's like, I'm translating Bhagavatam, and in a dictaphone. Prabhupada has a dictaphone. There's a mic, a recorder, and he dictates, right? And later on, the devotees hear it and they type it, and that's how the printing was happening, because Prabhupada can't do it. So many service was there. He was preaching, traveling all over the world. So there was a dictaphone. And when Prabhupada translates, everyone is sleeping, but the dogs in the streets, they keep barking. And as Prabhupada translates, there's the sound of this dogs barking. So it disturbs the translation. So Prabhupada gave a stick to the pickpocketer devotee and said, take this stick and go shoo the dogs in the street. In that way, you're doing some service. And he was so happy. Yes, I got to do a service for my spiritual master. What is the service? Not taking any lecture in the temple, not giving Shrimad Bhagavatam class in the temple, but shooing the dogs in the street for Srila Prabhupada. He took it as the service because the guru likes to be done. And he took the stick and went to shoo the dogs. So every day he was doing this. So Prabhupada noticed him. Prabhupada sees what you're good at it and then takes you for the service. So Prabhupada saw he was all awake during the night. So Prabhupada said, why did you go to America and start preaching? Because the night in India is day in America. So you won't have any problem. Your 24-hour cycle will get okay when you go to America, because there you can be active during the night. That is, Indian night is day in America. So he told, I don't have a passport, Prabhupada, to go to America. So Prabhupada arranged for the passport. So before that, you need to fill all these details, right? What's your father's name and all that. So the devotee is like, I don't know who's my father is, because I was an orphan. I was thrown in the streets at very young age. And Prabhupada was so compassionate. Prabhupada took the form, and in the father's name space, Prabhupada wrote A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. And the devotee took it. Devotee is like, but you are not my father, Prabhupada. But Prabhupada's like, I'm a spiritual father, right? And then, will they accept this? I mean, you are my father, you're my guru. And Prabhupada took his passport and showed it. And in Prabhupada's passport, the name of his father was Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, who was his guru. So Prabhupada said, this is parampara, go. So finally he got a passport and went to America and became a great preacher. So just imagine a pickpocketer becoming to Shuddha Sattvagun and becoming a Vaishnava. That's the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. Where is this mercy coming from? Srila Prabhupada? It's from Lord Nityananda, definitely from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Prabhupada never bothered what your history was, and he knew that everyone is not from a good background. So once Prabhupada goes everywhere to preach, so once he went to a place where there was this nude society going on, in the sense, all of them were naked there. Because there was a class of people in America, they reject the dress, and there was something like that, some crazy thing going on, and they smoke this drugs and ganja and all. They think that is spiritual realization. That's giving up your dress. So Prabhupada went there. Prabhupada was not knowing he's going to that place. So he sat, Prabhupada did Jai Radha Madhav Kirtan, and when Prabhupada opened his eyes, he saw everyone naked in front of him. Just everyone sitting like that. And Prabhupada didn't do anything. I mean, if it was someone else, they would have asked the disciple, where did you bring me? But Prabhupada know that they are in ignorance. They are in ignorance. That's why they are sitting like that. Prabhupada gave a nice lecture. Prabhupada said, you are feeling happy when your dress is taken away, but you have another dress. This body is also your dress. You are the real soul inside. And Prabhupada kept on answering, kept on saying that Vasam Sujirnani Yada Vihaya, as we change dress, when the soul moves from one body to another, this body is also a dress. So Prabhupada says, you don't know your real dress. The body is the real dress. And Prabhupada gave nice lecture, amazing lecture there. And he got the best devotee from there, that he was about to leave that place, because wherever Prabhupada goes, he searched for someone, some disciples to be in the movement. So suddenly when Prabhupada was about to start his car, or they had a van, someone else jumped in after dressing up. And that was the great Tamal Krishna Maharaj Goswami, who was Prabhupada's secretary for a long time, and he did wonderful service to Prabhupada. So he was saying that I was living like that, but it was Prabhupada. Prabhupada actually went there to take him, to grab the soul, because Prabhupada knows. And then once when Radhanath Swami Maharaj, he have a history of being a monk. He went to the Himalayas. He was a Buddhist. He went on traveling all over the world. He left America, he came to Bombay, and he was searching. He went to Himalayas, everywhere in Vrindavan. He was searching. He was a sadhu. Okay, because he was searching for some realization. He met many gurus, but he could not surrender to anyone. He went to a Mayavadi, he went to Buddhist, he went to so many categories, and finally he was in Bombay. So he had long hairs, matted hairs, because he's a yogi, and he saw in Bombay that there was a title of the Hare Krishna movement, and he saw so many American disciples with shaven heads and all. And Radha Swami Maharaj is like, what am I doing? I have a lot of matted hair and I'm a yogi, but these people look so happy. They are like so, you've seen Prabhupada's disciples, they are so glowing. They are glowing because the soul is so pure. They have got the mercy from Srila Prabhupada. They are so surrendered to Prabhupada that it was glowing. And Ratna Swami Maharaj is like, I want to know who your guru is. I want to meet him. So that day, Prabhupada was going to give a Pandal program. Those days it was Pandal program, like big Pandals used to be there. And Prabhupada used to invite so many guests. And the American disciples used to sing kirtan, and everyone will be like amazed to see. Because Prabhupada wanted to establish Krishna consciousness in Bombay, and that's why his office, the Juhu temple, is in Bombay, because he's like, that's the real city where the Krishna consciousness can flourish. So Prabhupada came, and Prabhupada was giving lecture. So Prabhupada saw Radhanath Swami Maharaj from a distance, and he asked, what are the yogis doing? You're renouncing everything. You are getting detached from everything. Why? This is all Krishna's. What are you actually renouncing? Everything is Krishna's. Even this body is Krishna's. Why don't you use it for Krishna's service instead of rejecting everything? And then Prabhupada looked into Radhanath Swami's eyes, and he sent a disciple to bring Radhanath Swami Maharaj to the stage. So he was invited, and he sat next to Prabhupada, and he could feel that Prabhupada is the real guru, empowered. And then he understood the philosophy that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and we need to serve him. Then Radhanath Swami Maharaj surrendered. So Maharaj was saying that I saw so many gurus in my life. No one has seen like me, but I understood Prabhupada was the real guru. Why? Because he's empowered by Krishna and he comes in the real disciplic succession, right? That's very important. So like this, Prabhupada have saved all his disciples throughout. And so even the female disciples, like so many, Yamuna Devi, Dasi Mataji, Malti Mataji, Mandakini Mataji, so many of them, the sannyasis, they were criticizing Prabhupada. Why all these Matajis are just around you and doing service and all that? See, I'm a sannyasi and I don't even look at females. So that's what the sannyasis were commenting to Srila Prabhupada, and Prabhupada was so silently listening because so many criticized Prabhupada. And why are you giving a Brahmanic thread, a Brahmanic initiation to the Mlechas, to the foreign white-skinned people? Because Prabhupada never saw anyone, differentiated anyone based on their color or caste or creed, because they are all spirit soul. They're all Krishna servants, right? And Prabhupada was doing the right thing. He was following Guna Karma Vibhakasha. Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, it's not like you're born in a Brahmana family, you become a Brahmana. No, Guna Karma. Based on your Guna and your Karma, you become a Brahmana. So by doing Krishna consciousness, we are actually elevating to the position of a Brahmana. So why can't we give Brahmanic initiation to the Mlechas? So Prabhupada was giving like that. Even he gave Brahmanic initiation to the female Matajis also, female disciples. And everyone is like, what are you doing? And Prabhupada just kept silently. He was silent, listening to the criticism of the sannyasis. And then that time, one Mataji, she stitched a handkerchief for Prabhupada. Whatever the coat and everything Prabhupada sometimes wear is gifted by Matajis, because they were stitching for the deities in the temple. They stitch for the dress of Radha Govinda and all that. They were doing the service. So Prabhupada takes it. And Prabhupada just took the handkerchief from the Mataji and he liked it. So he was keeping it with him. So he said, I do accept service from my female disciples because they are my daughters. They are my daughters. I don't see them as just another female or someone. They are my daughters. They are my spiritual daughters. Why can't a father accept service from a daughter? So that was Prabhupada's concept. Everyone is first generation is Prabhupada's daughters. We are all Prabhupada's granddaughters. So in that way, Prabhupada can take service. And Prabhupada said, it doesn't matter you're a male or female. Doesn't matter. Your spirit soul. What can this bodily concept do with your spiritual progress? So even Matajis can go back to Krishna in one life, because that's what Prabhupada proved. Because it doesn't matter. You have a lot of some kind of restrictions. You can't take sannyas and you can't be a brahmachari. But that type of life. But still, being a grihastha, serving your family, you can definitely reach Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada proved it. And also, there's so many devotees. And once there's Gaur Govinda Maharaj, the great devotee of Srila Prabhupada. He's no more. But he He was actually a devotee before coming to Krishna consciousness. Many, after reading Prabhupada's book, they were like, oh, Prabhupada is following Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So that means he's doing the right cult. I mean, he's preaching Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission. So some of the devotees in India, they were actually devotees before coming to Krishna consciousness. They already knew. And in America, they were not devotees. So Prabhupada made them devotees. But in India, he got some disciples. When Prabhupada preached in India, he got disciples who were before them only, before coming to Krishna consciousness, they already knew who Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was. So Gaur Govinda Maharaj already knew who Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was. And just because he heard Prabhupada's lecture and the books, he got inspired and he's like, he's my guru. So he came in search of Prabhupada. And Prabhupada, the first time he saw Gaur Govinda Maharaj, he said, did you take sannyas? That's the first question he asked. And Gaur Govinda Maharaj is like, no, I didn't take sannyas yet. I will give you sannyas. And then the next day, the sannyas ceremony was arranged. And all the disciples are like, Prabhupada, we have to join the movement. Then after a few months, you give first initiation. And after a few 6 months or 1 year, you give Brahmanic. And then you give us sannyas. But for this devotee, you directly give sannyas. Why? And there was so many questions. So Prabhupada's like, I made you all devotees. So I need to see whether you are in Sattvagun, you're following the 4 regulative principles, chanting. But he's a devotee from so many janmas. In so many life, he is a devotee. So I can't do anything. So I have to give him sannyas. And then Gaur Govinda Maharaj built the ISKCON Bhubaneswar temple and preached in Orissa. And he was a great, great devotee of Lord Chaitanya. So much of bhav, because his leaving the soul was so glorious. He was sitting in Mayapur giving a lecture. And immediately he felt separation from Krishna. He started crying and he's like, I want my Gopal. Where is my Gopal? So he had a small Laddu Gopal. He held it in his hand and just looking at the Gopal, he said, Gopal, Gopal. And he just fell behind and he left. So it's so glorious to know Prabhupada's disciples are so wonderful. And even Bhakti Charu Maharaj. Bhakti Charu Maharaj was a great scholar before coming to Krishna consciousness. He got so much of PhDs and degrees and that. He read the whole Nectar of Devotion, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, before coming to meet Prabhupada. Imagine, Nectar of Devotion, we read it after few years in Krishna consciousness, coming to Bhakti Shastri level of study. Then only that to 19 chapters, we are allowed to know only the 19 chapters because we can't take the bhav or the mood of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. It's so deep philosophy by Rupa Goswami. And Bhakti Charu Maharaj read the whole Nectar of Devotion and came to Krishna consciousness. And Prabhupada's like, again gave him initiation, first initiation, second initiation, and he immediately gave sannyas also to Bhakti Charu Maharaj. So everyone questioned Prabhupada, why are you taking so fast decisions? Prabhupada's like, I don't have time. I don't know when I have to leave. I'm so old. I need to initiate so many people, and they're all devotees from previous life. I can't do anything. I'm just an instrument initiating them. And someone asked, what if he fall down? Because if sannyas level, if you fall down, then it's a sin for the guru. So Prabhupada said, Bhakti Charu Maharaj will never fall. He's in Shuddha Sattvagun. Maximum he can fall to Sattvagun. He can't never go to Tamagun because he's a great devotee. Gopal Krishna Maharaj, whenever he meets Srila Prabhupada, he always have a book ready for Prabhupada, printed books. So whenever Prabhupada sees Gopal, where's my books? And Gopal Krishna Maharaj from ISKCON Delhi, he always have a book ready, printed. And he's like, Prabhupada, here. And Prabhupada was so happy. He gave him in charge of printing the press, the printing books in India. And all his disciples, if you take, they were so sincere. So once what happened, there were the brothers, Brahmananda Muni and Garga Muni. They were the first few disciples of Srila Prabhupada. They were very dedicated. They were very rich. Very rich. They were like landlords. They had a big bungalow and all that. But they left everything and came to Srila Prabhupada's service. So their mother came to meet Srila Prabhupada. And then she saw everything and she's like, how are my sons? But when she saw her sons, both were shaven, shaved heads and tilak and kanti, they were completely changed from what they were before. So Prabhupada invited her and Prabhupada was so happy receiving her. So Prabhupada asked, so are you going to do some donation to the temple? So Brahmananda Muni's mother just looked at both of her sons and looked at Prabhupada and said, what great devotion, what great donation can I give? I gave my 2 sons to you for your movement. And both the sons are brahmacharis and being with you in the full-time devotees to your temple. What more donation can I give? I gave my life to you. My life are my sons and I give both of them to you. Prabhupada's like, yes, That's a great donation, greatest donation you can ever give. And that Garga Muni is actually who got dictaphone for Prabhupada, and Brahmananda Muni actually got done so many service to Prabhupada, got so many centers established. And Brahmananda Munis, all these Prabhupada's disciples, Samadhis, most of them, the Samadhis are there in Vrindavan. If you go to Vrindavan, Raman Reddy, there's ISKCON Goshala. Next to that, you have all their Samadhis there, Pushpa Samadhis and Samadhis. So Prabhupada's disciples, all of them proved that they were mlechas or shudras in the beginning, but after coming to Krishna consciousness, after taking shelter of the Guru, and after chanting the holy name, and they elevated themselves to the position of a Brahmana. So it doesn't matter how you were born, what caste or creed you're born, your parents are not devotees, your husband or wife are not devotees, it doesn't matter. You're not from a devotee family, it doesn't matter, because what matters, you're not educated, you are nothing matters. What matters is your sincerity after joining the Krishna consciousness movement. Because all the Prabhupada's disciples had only one thought: how can I please Prabhupada? How can I serve my Guru? And that's very important, because serving Krishna, we can't go directly to Krishna, and we can't reach that level just like that. But by serving his representative, his Guru, the Guru, then we can definitely get pleased by Krishna. So I'll end by saying the pastime of Saraswati, who was Malti Mataji and Shyam Sundar Prabhu's daughter. They were also the first disciples of Prabhupada who preached the movement so much. So they had a daughter called Saraswati. She was very small. Prabhupada liked her so much, because Prabhupada said she's not a normal kid, she's Vaikunta child. And Prabhupada likes kids, all of them, because at young age they have come to Krishna consciousness. So Prabhupada really likes Saraswati. She was always with Prabhupada and always listening. Whenever there's Pandal program, when there is lecture going on or there's Kirtan, she'll be dancing. And she used to preach, in the sense she's so small, but she goes to everyone and asks, do you know who's Krishna? And then, I don't know who's Krishna. Then she says, Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. She know only that statement. And she's preaching. So Prabhupada's like, look at her. She just know one sentence in Krishna consciousness and she's preaching. What are we doing? Now we know we are learning Prabhupada's books. We are reading. We are doing sadhana. What are we doing? Are we preaching? What should we do? So Prabhupada says, all of you should preach. Okay. And then once Prabhupada gave a lecture in a home, and he got a gift. It was like a silver Krishna, original silver Krishna. So it's a small deity, small one. So Prabhupada was kept it on his table, and Saraswati, small child, she didn't know. She just took it. She started playing with it. Oh, I got a nice Krishna, and she started playing with it. But the devotees knew that it's so costly, and Prabhupada wants it. So she's still child. She'll just throw it somewhere and destroy it. So all the disciples were trying to take it from her. So they were playing with her, and finally they took it. So one person takes and pass it to the other person, everyone, they kept on passing it, and finally it came to Prabhupada, and Prabhupada hid it. He was hiding it from Saraswati. He was playing. So Saraswati is like, where's my Krishna? I gave it to you. Where is he? Where is he? And he starts searching everywhere, starts searching everyone's hands, and nobody got it. Finally, she was almost like going to cry. And her mother, Malti Mataji, asked, what happened to you, Saraswati? She's like, I can't see my Krishna. Where is Krishna? So Malti Mataji is like, who have Krishna in this temple? Who do you think have Krishna? Who do you think can give Krishna to you? Oh, Prabhupada. Yes, so go to him. He will have Krishna. So Saraswati ran to Prabhupada's room. Prabhupada, where is my Krishna? I can't see my Krishna. I can't live without Krishna. Prabhupada's like, just trying to play with her, that I don't know and all that. But then Prabhupada saw tears coming in her eyes. She was crying in separation from Krishna. Prabhupada's like, this is the mood of the Goswamis. This is what our mood should be, that we are in separation from Krishna. We are crying in separation from Krishna, like a small child crying. So Prabhupada finally took that as a silver Krishna and gave it to Saraswati, because Prabhupada could not handle her cry. But she later on became a great preacher. But then all the children in Krishna consciousness movement were specially taken care by Prabhupada. He sees that they are brought up in Krishna consciousness. So it doesn't matter where we are. Here it is said, previous age, the Rakshasas were less. But in the age of Kali, because there is no discipline and there's no Garbhadan Sanskar, everyone is born in a form of without Garbhadan Sanskar and in a Shudra form. But because of Krishna consciousness movement spreading worldwide, because of the books of Srila Prabhupada. If you take all the disciples of Prabhupada, many of them have come to Krishna consciousness just by reading Prabhupada's books, because the books are so strong by words. Even now, if Prabhupada is not there, still he is there with us in his books. So when you read Prabhupada's books, you're directly associating with Krishna. And this is the unique contribution of Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya wanted this movement to spread like this. And that's how great it is to see that if the Americans, the hippies, could take Krishna consciousness, why born in India in a normal, nice culture, that we have a lot of advantage. Bharat Bhumile Manushya Janma Hoilayar, Janma Sarthak Kari Karo Paropakar. So we need to do make our life successful and make others' life successful. So it doesn't matter where we are born and how we are born, but what it matters is how we take up Krishna consciousness and be successful. So, and also do some service to the Krishna consciousness movement. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Okay, so yes, Ambiga Mataji, you have a question?
Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Mataji, how we have to do the Garbhadana Samskara, Mataji, and what's the procedure, Mataji? And I've been recently married, so I do
your
have
husband
option.
Your husband is a devotee.
He is not a devotee. He is not a devotee, Mataji. He's just now trying to be a devotee, Mataji.
He's chanting.
Actually, he has chanted till now the 51 time. I made him to chant for 51 rounds. So he has chanted up to 40 rounds, Mataji.
You mean 40 times or
40 times, Mataji? 40
that means,
times.
yeah, 40 times Hare Krishna mantra, right?
Yes, Mataji.
It's a little difficult, but then what he is supposed to do is so it is said that 50 rounds by my husband and wife, but if it's not possible, yes, at least see the right time, because there is, I can't speak all that here, but there is the fertilization time, the fertility time where there is ovulation happening, right? That you can calculate using your ovulation app, the calculation where your fertility time is. So at that time, you prepare yourself and pray to Krishna that I need a Krishna conscious child or a devotee child, and I'm not doing it for my sense gratification. Pray. So it's okay. Like now you are just started your rounds in Krishna consciousness. So, but basically it is said both husband and wife have to chant 50 rounds, 50 rounds in 208. 16 rounds is what we do normally, but it's okay. Your husband has just started chanting. It doesn't matter. You chant maximum how much ever you can. Keep your consciousness clean, and then try to pray to Krishna. And if your intention is good, Krishna will definitely guide you. And there's actually a book on Garbhadan Sanskar and all that, but not by Prabhupada. His disciples have written. So I think you can go and just see it, Mataji. I'm not an authority to speak on that, but try to get instructions from some female Matajis, some mentors, someone who's senior to you on that aspect. Okay, basically chant more, and then on those days of the fertile period, chant more and be sattvic. Try to take Krishna Prasad and chant more and pray to Krishna. Krishna sees your intention. It doesn't matter external things, but your intention should be good. Pray to Krishna sincerely that I want to have a devotee of yours as a child, or to take up Krishna consciousness movement forward. Someone who can do some service to the society. I don't want some other form of the children or some spoiled child, but I want someone who's a devotee of yours. And Krishna sees your intention, and the soul will be blessed, whoever, because aham bija pradapita, it's Krishna who's actually giving that soul to. Krishna deposits the soul, and then that's how the soul comes to you. So based on your karma, we don't know what our karma is, based on our karma, but then whatever your karma is, all the negatives get washed away just by chanting Hare Krishna. So try to take Krishna Prasad, give your husband also Krishna Prasad, try to hear lectures on those days, and try to have a sattvic life, and then pray to Krishna. So rest, everything is in Krishna's hands. Okay. Hare Krishna. So yes, there's so many rules for Garbhadan Sanskar, but we can't go deep into it because we're not following it every time. But then yes, whatever we can, chanting, taking Krishna Prasad, keeping our consciousness clear, and the intentions. So if you do that, I think then Krishna will definitely bless. Okay. Hare Krishna. Okay, so I request everyone, if you can read Leelamrita book. Also, that the synopsis of Prabhupada book is available in our temple. If you order the second level books, you get Prabhupada by Satswarup Das Goswami. If you read Leelamrita, you feel like it's so enjoying to read Prabhupada's Leelamrita, all his disciples, and also Prabhupada memories. If you could just see in YouTube, so many disciples speak about how they came to Krishna consciousness. So many nice pastimes. Yeah, actually both should chant 50 rounds each. That's what the recommendation is. But sometimes we can't reach to that expectation. Nowadays, everyone's so busy in life and working and everything, job and everything, that 16 rounds only will take 2 hours, and 50 rounds is like, how much? So many hours, and it's not possible. So whatever we can, how much of a maximum we can, we chant, and then try to take Krishna Prasad and keep our consciousness clear. That's very important. If you're not able to do that much, at least this should be there, because if we are following that sincerely, then we have to follow everything sincerely. We're not to that standard. So whatever we can, how much ever, but we should not neglect it. How much ever we can chant, and your consciousness, that's very important. Yeah, said in one day 50 rounds. There are devotees who chant 64 rounds during Ekadashi and all. So but that's not possible if you're working your job, and then everything, it doesn't happen like that. But so that's what very important. And once you conceive, that time also the consciousness of the child is developing from day one. People don't believe there's a soul in the embryo from day one. They think that abortion can be done in it is like said before 12 weeks. Yes, medically it is allowing, medical termination of pregnancy is allowed, but then they are not thinking about the Shastra, they're not thinking about the karma and all. But when we come to Krishna consciousness, we know from day one there is a soul in the embryo. Otherwise, how is the embryo growing? How can they think that there's no soul in the embryo before 12 weeks? Definitely, really, at 12 weeks, we do the first trimester, first scan, or the early scan of pregnancy. When we do, we can actually see the gestational sac, we can see the embryo, we can see the heartbeat. The heartbeat is visible at 7 weeks. Just imagine, 7 weeks, the heartbeat is visible. So that means what, 1.5 months, there's already heartbeat. And how is the heart beating without a soul in it? No? So there is a soul from day one of conception. First day, when it's just an embryo in a form of a embryo, a zygote form, still there is a soul. So it's not allowed to do. So but then if I speak more on that, then it's like I'm not going against the profession, but then still that's the Shastra. So many things are given in the Shastra that we are not supposed to do anything wrong after coming to. In ignorance we were doing, in avidya we were doing, but then that's actually wrong. So we should be really trying to bring up a soul in Krishna consciousness. When you get your children, you just should think that Krishna have sent the soul to you. It's my duty to serve that child, to serve that soul to become Krishna conscious, right? So Krishna, why did Krishna send that kids to you? Right? Because of the karma and all. But now it's your responsibility. Janani nasasya, pita nasasya, namo jayate samameta prithvi. So you have to see that soul doesn't go to another mother's womb. That soul came to my womb, and it's going to be my child. I have the responsibility to see that my child doesn't go to another mother's womb, or I have to see my child is in Krishna consciousness. That's what every mother should feel. That's what Prabhupada says. Okay, you can pray for the children, you can pray for the family. Definitely Krishna will hear your intention and prayers. I think we can end here and unmute everyone. Doman, have a question? Okay, so you can start reading Leelamrita. Okay, little by little. So many nice pastimes of Prabhupada and his disciples. Very nice to read. Okay, Hare Krishna, everyone. Vanchakalpadrubhascha kripa sindhute evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavibhyo namo namah. Nandikodi Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.